sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Weekdays from 10 a.m.
With Adrian Kennedy.
Here's a question for you. Do you believe that gambling ads encourage more people to gamble and to basically gamble more? Is the advertising of gambling and bookies increasing the amount of people getting into trouble with huge gambling debts and addictions? Well, the President, Michael D. Higgins, said yesterday that he's concerned about the effects gambling is having on sports people and athletes, and that he'd like to see a ban on gambling ads in sports. Now, speaking yesterday on RT's Sunday Sport programme, he said that he was concerned about some of the cases of gambling among the GAA community and had met people who had suffered because of a gambling addiction. Here's basically what he said. If I had my way, I wouldn't have advertising of any access to gambling platforms in sport at all. I really worry when I read the cases. Let's have a quick listen. This audio is courtesy of RTE from their Sunday Sport programme yesterday.
I'm very concerned about gambling, for example, which, if I had my way, I wouldn't have advertising of any access to gambling platforms in sport at all. I think I really worry when I read cases of people who come through. I visited, for example, the Hope House in Mayo recently, who have been a great assistance to some people who've got over a terrible temporary problem. We do need, it's not for me as President, I have no influence except to say what I think. For too long in Ireland, we often ignore problems that are staring us in the face.
Okay, now that was what the President said yesterday with regard to gambling, and I would love to hear from you on this on 6797981. Should we have an outright ban on the advertising of gambling of any sort? Gambling apps or websites or whatever, that we just have a complete and utter ban on advertising for these products. Now, you know, you might think you can't ban something like that, but you can. One of my colleagues here in the office couldn't believe that there was a time in the past that we advertised cigarettes. You'd open up page 3 of your Sunday newspaper and there'd be a big, huge ad for a packet of cigarettes. And, you know, today's generation don't even remember that happened. Find it bizarre that you were ever able to advertise cigarettes. But that was banned because it is dangerous. Should advertising for gambling be banned because it's dangerous? I'd love to hear from you on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Should we have a ban on the advertising of gambling? A lot of people believe it is that dangerous that we do need to have a complete and utter ban. Call me right now on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Let's run a very quick Dublin Talks text poll, where that's the question I'm asking you. Should there be, a ban on gambling advertising? Okay, you all know the companies, I don't have to name them, but you switch on your telly for any length of time and you will see adverts left, right and centre for all of the different betting companies. Should there be a ban on gambling advertising? Jen, you believe that getting rid of the ads for different gambling companies will help. How?
It will reduce it, I think. Yeah, it will reduce it anyway. Like, you won't get rid of it completely, but I believe if you get rid of the ads, then, you're not seeing it, you know. So the less people actually having the urge to go on to do it, if they're not seeing ads, then there'll be less people gambling, you know, so.
Okay, and obviously you believe that gambling is a dangerous addiction and an awful lot of people suffer from it, and it's become so easy for people to gamble now.
It's far too easy to go on to gambling things and putting bets on. Like, you start off small bets and then you end up huge bets and then you're losing your house and stuff, so... Like Jeremy Coyle was a gambling addict. That's
right, yes. So do you believe that we should have a ban on advertising to try and...
reduce it at least?
Yes. I mean,
it's impossible to get rid of it.
The amount of advertising is just... you will never get rid of gambling.
No, you never get rid of addiction either. So,
But the pressure on people with all of the ads, and like I said, this week with the Galway races, every channel you switch on is going to be advertising different gambling companies. So you believe that
literally everywhere.
You believe there should be a restriction on gambling ads?
Adverts, especially, yeah.
All right, now I'm just looking actually on the front pages of today's papers. So I just grab one of them here. Yep. Front page on most of the papers today is something to do with the Galway races. Front page. Yep. Where am I going now? Joe, you're on 98FM. How are you, Joe?
How you doing?
Good, thank you, Joe. Joe, should there be a ban on gambling advertising?
There should be, because a lot of the times they're advertising free bets and things like that, and you have to put your credit cards in. But I mean, you're never going to win with your free bets. Like, I mean, all these sites are saying win 10 free spins or get 20 euros free for a 10 euro bet. And of course, you're never going to win on them. And then, of course, you're going to try and put more and more in to try and get what you've lost back.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm looking at all of the newspapers today. One of them, free €5 matched bet. Now, a matched bet means you actually have to spend a fiver to get the fiver.
Exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, they know that the people are going to lose it, you know, and they're going to end up gaining more because the customer is always going to try and chase their money back, you know, of what they lost. And that's always the way. Like, I mean, you look at all these places now, all the casinos that's popping up all of a sudden. That you've got casinos, nearly 12, 13 casinos nearly on the Collins Street alone. Well, near enough are Collins Street and around Collins Street. Yeah,
I'm kind of bemused as to how this has been allowed to happen as well without any regulation.
Well, I mean, there's no regulations at the moment. Now, there has been word about the licensing of the machines. That casinos got a letter out overpaying for the licensing for all the machines. But I mean, I know from doing a bit, you know, that all the machines are always made in for the benefit of the casino. And like, I mean, all the machines are fixed near enough.
Well, and they say the house always wins, and that's...
Well, that's on table games, but I mean, you're talking about electronic machines. I mean, I know...
It does seem bizarre, Joe, that there is no regulation. I mean, and it is something that does need to be sorted out. But I know the loophole they get away with it is they're all private members clubs.
Well, I mean, I know a couple of guys that, like, I mean, I must say in a night, if maybe spent 3,000 or 4,000 in a night on one machine, you know? And you could maybe do the same on an online machine as well, because they're all same programmable.
Okay, let me ask you, Joe, what advantage would there be to banning gambling advertising? And like I said, people find it bizarre that there was ever a time that you could advertise cigarettes and, you know, sponsor sports events, cigarette companies sponsoring sporting events and all sorts of stuff. Do you believe that that's the area we need to start going?
Yeah, well, I mean, these gambling companies don't give a rat's on what people lose. They're only looking for the money that they're getting off the customers. And I mean, at the end of the day, with gambling, like, a player gets nothing now with gambling when they lose their money. Like, they're trying to chase what they've lost. And I mean, these advertisements, you know, give them free bets and things like that. And especially with the electronic end of it. Like, I mean, after a certain time, about 8 o'clock, I think it's 7 or 8 o'clock, all you see is gambling ads everywhere.
Absolutely, it's everywhere, yeah. All right, stay there for 1 second, Joe. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us, 0877 98 98 98. We're talking about gambling adverts, and the President yesterday said that he would like to see a restriction on advertising for gambling products. And we're asking whether or not you would agree with that. A lot of people are actually saying yes. Now, here's a lady that we're putting through our voice disguiser again because of her story, and we're calling her Anne. Anne, welcome to 98FM.
Hi, how are you?
This is something that you're going through with family at this minute.
At this minute. With a 20-year-old.
Sorry, say that again?
With a 20-year-old. With
a 20-year-old who is strung out on gambling?
Yes, and it's rampant.
How bad is it with this 20-year-old?
Well, I can tell you from the area I live in, I would say 50% of young lads between 18 and 20, 22 spend their days in the bookies. after work. These are working lads. They're not just bums that are on the labour. These are lads that are working, that have a full income coming in and basically have nothing to show for. Now, we discovered about a year ago kind of there was a slight problem. We thought we addressed it. And then we discovered recently that it's way out of control. So now we have took control of everything as a family.
And how can you? Because we were talking a couple of minutes ago about how easy it is to gamble.
Oh, it is. And the thing is, the young lads are in the bookies from 18 now. Like, they're 18 years of age. They haven't got the cut.
But what I'm wondering is,
they're probably only starting their first job. They've a few bob in their pocket. They're saying, "Oh, this is great. I'll go in the bookies now and I'll double my money." But that's not the way it works. And then there's idiots that are standing outside lending the money to go in and place more bets.
in terms of the 20-year-old that you're talking about, realistically, is there anything you can do to stop him? Because there probably isn't, is there?
Well, he came to us for help, which was a good thing. We're in control of his bank accounts at the minute. He basically he works a brilliant job, has a really good earnings, has absolutely nothing to show for. He goes to counselling now, probably once, maybe twice a week. We found a really good counsellor. He tries Gamblers Anonymous, which, no offence to Gamblers Anonymous, but he felt it was for older men, and he felt like he was a baby in it, if you know what I mean. So he went and he does one-on-one counselling now. Hopefully things will turn around, but you just don't know. They can go in and they can sign themselves out of the bookies. They can bring in photo ID so the girls in the bookies won't serve them again. There is an actual sheet of paper that you. So
there are things that you, as a family, are able to do. Let me ask you, Anne, about gambling advertising. And like I said, it's everywhere. All you have to do.
It's everywhere. You turn on the football on the Saturday, sitting watching a match on the Saturday, and just before the match, there's adverts everywhere. Paddy Power's given this odds. It's half time in a match. Paddy Power's given this odds. Not necessarily Paddy Power.
Yeah, no, I know, but Betfair or any one of them.
Yeah. You know, the young lads are looking at it saying, "Oh God, if I put €10 on this, I'm going to win 1,000." Do you know that kind of way to carry on, like, in the mentality?
And do you think that there should be a ban on this sort of advertising?
Totally. You should be able to sit down and watch a sports game that you enjoy without having to put a bet.
Without it having to be associated with gambling.
Yeah, totally.
All right, stay there for 1 second. Our telephone number is 679 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Colm, you're on 98FM. How are you, Colm?
How are you doing, Adrian?
Now, your point on this, and we were talking about a 20-year-old there, your belief is that problems with gambling are actually starting a lot younger than we might think.
I think it would be. Like, with the likes of the arcades and stuff like that, like, I know with my daughters, when I go in, literally all they want to do is just keep going until they win a teddy or something like that. So you're constantly going with it. And that's showing them then at a younger age that you have to keep going until you get it, until you actually win that prize money or the prize. So, I mean, it's...
And what age do you believe that they're starting?
As soon as they go into an arcade with their parents, I think they're starting, because they constantly want that. Like, I went through where at one stage I kept turning around. I put in €20 at one stage just to get the teddy, and in fairness to the girl then behind the desk, she said, "Look, I'll get you one of the teddies out because you've spent that much." Now, she shouldn't have really, but thankfully for her she did, because my daughter was crying that much that she really wanted it. Like, and my daughter was only like 4 at the stage. So it is.
I do often wonder, or it does often concern me about the possible impact. Taking kids to the dogs or to a race meeting or whatever. Is it encouraging them? Is it normalising gambling? Because very young kids will bet, in Leopardstown or in Galway or whatever.
Well, like we went out before to Bray, and we were only going. We're only going to go out. We'll go to the beach and all that. We'll have a look and we'll go out. So by the time we ended up coming out the arcades now, we spent nearly €80, and they only won 2 teddies. Like it was, that's what I mean. People go through that much. Now, me myself, I do gamble, but I put in €20 a month. The way I'd walk is €5. If I stop, I stop. That's it. There's no way I'd go beyond that, because I know I have responsibilities everywhere else, and that's I don't know. Like, I know gambling is an addiction, but
an addiction for some.
Still can.
An addiction for some. In that, a lot of us might have had a flutter when we were kids and we're not gambling addicts. But what would you say to this message then? Lads, I find it laughable that you will take away free will. When have you ever seen an ad for heroin, but you only have to drive around town to see all the addicts? Are we really turning into a nanny state where our choices are being restricted this much? And in fact, Mark, you're actually opening a bookies.
Yeah.
And what's your story?
I just, to be honest with you, advertisement is one way to stop it, but people will not stop regardless. I've tried to refuse customers, and still they have a fight with you just to get their bet on.
And you find it, depressing?
Yeah. Sometimes you do a 12-hour shift, and there's a customer that walk in as soon as you open the shutter, and he'll be there till you close the shutter. And yet you go home, and then sometimes you actually think about what his life is like. But when you try to help him, he'll actually refuse to help. And
you do try to help?
Yeah, of course. Like, you tell him that you sure you want to place this bet, like, would you not just rather go home, and they'd actually fight with you over asking you to mind your own business. Like, it's not none of your business what I do on my mind.
So you work in a bookies, but you find it quite depressing at times to see some people destroying their lives.
Yeah.
And you know that they're destroying their lives.
Yeah, but like that, you can't. It can only help people that want to be helped.
Yes, of course, yeah. And you have offered help. You have tried to suggest, that maybe you shouldn't be gambling here. But if they're going to throw it back in your face, then there's not much you can do.
Like that woman said, there actually is things within the shops that, like, literally all they have to say is they have a problem, and we can actually turn around and say, look, listen, here's a form, fill it out, take your picture. You won't be saved anywhere in any paddy powers that you choose to not go anywhere near.
Right,
like,
very good.
They can actually say, look, listen, there's 12 shops for the next 12 months. None of these shops can serve me. So, but then it's on them whether to walk in or not. Like,
yes.
We can turn around and say, like, no, but they still will walk in no matter what.
But it is up to the person. It's not up to the shop. Would you ever refuse somebody?
Yeah.
On what grounds?
Plenty of times. The fact that if you feel like it's actually incapable that they'll go home with absolutely no money, I'd actually refuse them.
And what sort? But refusing them, they can just go around the corner to a different bookies, can't they?
But I can't stop what happens outside my shop. But within my shop, I try to do the best I can to help a person I feel like is in need.
We were asking whether or not there should be a ban on gambling advertising. Do you think there should?
It's not even the advertising; it's the person within themselves. It's like an alcoholic or a person that smokes. Regardless if it's advertised, like, people still smoke. It's not advertised, but people still smoke.
Okay, so banning the advertising isn't necessarily going to deal with the problem.
Because if you think when cigarettes got banned from being advertised, how many young people still smoke? It's not as if like it stopped a different generation from doing it. No,
I know, but we do have less smokers now than we ever had in the past. So yeah, but I do agree. I do agree. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped them smoking.
But it's more of a fact that, like, if someone that you're looking up to is doing something, they'll still do it anyway. So if a child sees a parent smoking, they're going to actually just think like, oh, well, if mum and dad smoke, it's okay to smoke. Like,
and likewise with gambling.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're out with your dad having a feud, like your dad is drinking and you're out to watch football, it's not the ads that are making the kid think like I want to gamble. It's actually seeing his dad walk in and out of bookies.
All right, Mark, I'm sorry to cut across you, but thanks very much indeed for your call. Thank you, all of you, for your calls. You're with 98FM's Dublin Talks.
The sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Weekdays from 10 a.m.
With Adrian